Hey, what's up, Forum? It's Gorilla Hands, and today I'm bringing you a game of Domination on launch. Now, you guys might remember last week I posted a video focusing on all the things that I did wrong and how I go about doing things differently in those situations. Well, today I wanted to talk about all the things that I do right, the stuff that I like to do in order to win a game of Domination. And you might notice I'm not helping Psycho capture the B flag, and that's something I like to do if I'm running solo or if I'm running maybe with one other person. And that's I'll escort a person down to the B flag, and then I'll keep pushing forward to meet the enemy team. Because they're going to be coming down that hill, they're going to be spamming lethal and tactical grenades. And the people on the B flag are going to be essentially defenseless. They don't have really any cover. And yeah, they can capture the B flag, but if the enemy team clears them off of it, then they can quickly recapture it uncontested. So I like to actually meet the enemy team, protect the person capturing the B flag, and clear the enemy team from any advances on that flag. So let's see how it works out.
Gotta hit marker gorilla.
In this given situation, there was only one person coming for the B flag, but in my experiences, I've seen as many as 2, 3, or even 4 people running down the hill, and they're not expecting somebody to pop out like that and shoot at them. So it's a really good technique to use to catch people off guard, and again to defend the B flag. But I did mention I do this when I'm escorting somebody down there. What happens if somebody's not heading towards the B flag? I'm the only one heading towards the B flag. What is my opening route then? Well, let me go over that. If I find that I'm the only person heading towards the B flag, then I don't take a direct route towards it. I like to take my time. I'll clear people along this given path, and I'll head to the back of the rocket. And the reason for that is there's not a whole lot of people that normally head back here, and it's a good vantage point over the B flag. So what I like to do once I'm here is I'll wait for the enemy team to start to capture B, and they're going to be focusing on the doorway to the left and on the perchway overlooking this flag on the opposite side of the rocket. People tend to forget about the location that I'm currently standing in. So I'll jump down, I'll catch them off guard, and I'll clear them off the B flag. And because I cleared that initial wave of attackers, they're going to be spawning back near A, and I'm going to be able to capture the flag relatively uncontested. So although this isn't my opening route, this is an example of me utilizing that approach. And you'll notice that the enemy is looking on the perchway opposite of mine, and he actually starts to look to the left at the doorway. He never turns around and looks at me. So this is a great approach to catch somebody off guard.
I haven't really went through the fire stuff that much.
One of the things you need to focus on in order to be successful in Domination, especially if you're running solo a lot, is the knowledge of where the enemy team is spawning and where they're generally located. And by looking at the UAV right now, I notice that our team is mostly on the right side of the map and we're clustered near B and A. So by looking at that, I realize there's a good chance that the enemy team has slipped through the center of the map and they're probably pushing towards C. So that is why I adjust my direction and start to head back to the C flag.
To see what the little ones are in it.
So at the beginning of this game, I'm using the Commando with Warlord, Red Dot Sight, and the Suppressor. But after I die here, I realize I need to change it up. And the reason for that is I don't normally use the Commando as kind of a close quarters weapon. I use it for handling long lines of sight because it's an extremely accurate weapon if you know how to burst fire it correctly. Now there are plenty of long lines of sight on launch, but the way I'm playing, I'm just running into a lot more people in closer quarters combat. So I decided to change from the Commando to the Galil with extended mags. So sometimes if you're playing bad or if you're having trouble, just knowing to change your classes mid-game can really make a difference.
Losing Bravo.
Yeah, I've got nothing for that. Maybe I just need to learn to jump higher.
Oh my god, dude.
Hostile RCXD spotted in your area. Enemy took B.
So there's 2 big things that happened in this scene, so let's watch it over again and I'll talk about it. The first thing I do is throw a grenade in an attempt to prevent them from capturing the B flag. And although I don't get any kills, the indicator shows up for them and causes them to focus on it for a split second and actually makes them move out of cover. And the second thing is, although I have a clear shot at the target initially, I wait until I get behind the barrels before I decide to engage. And the reason for that is I don't want the gunfight to be fair. If I can present a much smaller target to the enemy than what he presents me, I'm going to take that situation. so it can be extremely beneficial to understand all the different cover spots that are on a map and how to utilize them for your advantage. They certainly have the potential to help you in a gunfight. So last week I mentioned that one of my general rules of thumb is that if I shoot somebody and then lose eye contact with them for more than a couple of seconds, I'm not going to chase them down, just because they could be setting up an ambush for me as I recklessly try to finish them off. But in this given situation, I have several reasons as to why I'm going to follow him. The first is he's severely damaged, and the distance between me and him is so minimal that he's not going to have a whole lot of time to repair his health when we re-engage. The second is I have a lot of ammo left in my magazine, so I don't have to worry about reloading as I'm chasing him down or if we get into another gunfight. And the final reason is I know the map layout. He really only has three options in his given situation. He can remain in the room and try to fight me once I turn into the room. He can exit the room and go straight, in which case I have a long sight line that I can shoot him as he's running away. And the final option is he can leave the room and head right. Now in that final option, if I enter the room and I don't see him, then I know he's probably gone right, and I'm not going to chase him down. I'll toss a grenade in that direction, but I don't know what's going to happen there. But in the first two situations, I have a good chance of finishing him off.
Losing Charlie.
Now to handle the first situation in which the enemy remains in the room, I like to use a little technique called pre-firing. It works really great in close quarters combat. And what pre-firing does is you start to fire from the hip into a room or a general area where you're not exactly sure where the enemy is located. Once you find that enemy, you have a little bit of a jump start in the gunfight because you're already firing. And if you need some more accuracy, since you're firing when you're aiming at him, you just bring up the ADS to finish him off. So in this upcoming situation, I know the enemy team is spawning back near their C flag. And I know if I'm going to take this route back towards C, I have to worry about those barrels. So even if I don't see anybody, I always lead with a flash or some type of grenade to prevent them from being able to utilize that cover.
SR-71.
Again, it would have been really beneficial if I could jump high.
To launch. Huey, ready for deploy.
So I don't have a whole lot of tips for using the chopper gunner, but I do have two things I like to focus on to prevent from being shot down. The first is prioritizing stationary red triangles, because they're most likely standing there in an attempt to lock on to my chopper gunner. And the second thing I like to do is focus on people as they first spawn in, because if someone comes in with Ghost Pro next to somebody who spawns in without Ghost Pro, then I can shoot in that general area and hopefully take them out. So I lead off this scene pre-firing at the enemy, similar to what I did before. Although it's not as effective, it still works. And then I notice once we've cleared the C flag, the location of the napalm, and our team's positions, it's a good chance that the enemy's spawning near the A flag. Now if you watch the kill feed, you'll notice that I'm right. Psycho meets them at the A flag and clears out most of them. So although I don't get a whole lot of kills when I switch directions back towards the A flag, like I said before, it is still very helpful to know where the general team's positions are on the map and where they're spawning. It can be really helpful when you're playing solo domination. The only reason I knew to switch back to my right flank and kill that guy who was coming towards me, even though he wasn't showing up on the radar, was I was using sounds in the game. Now, sounds in Black Ops are not as powerful as they once were in, say, Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4, but you can still use them to your advantage. The enemy makes noises when they pull pins on grenades, you can hear them yelling towards one another, and for me, in that given situation, I heard him reloading his magazine for his LMG. So listen to this scene again, and pay attention to the sound cue I used to know to change directions back to my right side. So those are some of the things that I like to use in order to do well in a game of domination. So hopefully it'll help you if you didn't know some of these things beforehand. And also I know a couple of you guys had mentioned that you'd want to put your gameplay up and have me discuss it kind of in a similar fashion as I'm doing for these videos. If you're interested, please send me a message. I certainly don't have a problem doing it. And as always, take it easy.